Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ann Brown on the line, all the way from Accokeek, Maryland, with tips for trips. Now, you know, we usually come on Sundays for a little while just to give you some tips in terms of things that you might be thinking of, and when you're thinking about travel, because that's what we do. However, today, let me tell you, today is no exception. We have a phenomenal guest today that I love for you to hear from. He's someone that I truly admire and respect, loves to have fun. You can find him on the beaches of the world. You can find him putting groups together. You can find him actually traveling with friends, family, his daughter. I mean, just everybody. He definitely has a heart of gold. He'll bend over backwards to help everybody. And I've seen that happen. You can find him actually cleaning up the beaches and actually doing philanthropic things all across the DC area as well, metropolitan area. But one of the things that I truly respect about him is that the level of success that he's achieved, because he's taken the time to learn the facts. He knows this business inside out. And if he doesn't know it, he'll find out. And so just because he knows the facts and all those other things put together, he has achieved at a level of success that is truly admirable to all who know him. And so I like to introduce to some and present to others someone I'm proud to call my friend, Mr. Vincent Peden. Vince, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ed. Thank you so much. Let's add sit in the parking lot at the grocery store to
Right.
the list of places I go. Thank you so much. I am so happy to be able to be on this call here today. Let's get it started. Thank you so
Awesome,
much.
awesome. Well, Vince, I know a lot of people know you and have known you for years, but for those people that are on the line, could you briefly tell us how you got started in the travel industry?
All right. So, real short story is it's been about 20 years now. Started off doing bus trips to Atlantic City. I live in the Maryland, DC area back in 2001. Wanted to venture out to do something different. And back then, Atlantic City was pretty much the only casino here close enough on the East Coast. And I used to just start off with bus trips to Atlantic City. Huge success. Went from one bus to three buses to five buses on any particular time that we decided to go. Then ventured out to start doing some things outside of the Maryland, DC area. And my first trip back then in 2003 was a trip to Cancun, Mexico. And we had about 60 to 70 people, if I'm not mistaken, and just been building from there. When I first got into this business, um, I went into what we used to call the yellow pages, and I found a travel agency, strictly just looking for different travel agencies, and found a phone number that looked something like mine. And when I called her up, it was a young lady. She was in the business for almost 8 years at that point in time, and I just asked her for her help. Through her help, I was able to kind of let her know that this was something I wanted to do long term, and she kind of helped me with the my first two trips. And then from there, it just kind of expanded. I established my own company, VP Productions Travel, and just started to just build upon that. And since then, we have done over 56 group trips. We have probably, if you add up all of the individuals from all of the trips over the last 20 years, we just pulled these numbers at the beginning of the year. Almost, I mean, and if I count the Miami takeover included, almost 9,000 people on all of these different trips. Some of our trips that I host on the group side, it ranges anything from 20 to as many as the most in one given weekend, 894. So we have different types of trips. We try to limit our groups to a manageable size, but over the years, just been growing. Trying to expand with the industry as well as with technology. So just imagine in the early 2000s, a lot of people wasn't doing a lot of online transactions. So I try to adapt over the years, and now we're able to accept payments all kinds of different ways. Also, in terms of just the social media, since 2010 and ongoing, that has also been another way to expand. Always from day one, wanted to establish the company with a brand, a name, as well as expectations. And a lot of things that I did years ago, I still do to this day in terms of just the customer service at a high level, communicating and trying to get people as prepared as humanly possible before traveling. So that's pretty much how I got into business. Since then, I affiliated myself with a lot of different agencies, just trying to find the one that I like the most. And over the times and over the years, what's been happening is getting with a company that aligns with your goals is the most important things. And anytime you start anything, you always going to have some type of mentorship, coaching, training, some opportunities to be able to learn. And I was able to find this with but the company that I've been now with for about 13 years, which is Surge 365, and through the model of the travel side on the YTB Travel, and also still doing my own thing, but it combines everything and kind of gives me everything that I need. And like you said in the beginning, it's all about understanding the industry. Things change so much. This pandemic changes so much that you have to kind of be in this travel business, but understand that even in the pandemic, even in the worst situations, people first choice of doing something is going to be travel. And understanding that and being able to adapt to their needs is how you can be successful and be able to understand that everything is going to be always about a recommendation. Yeah, you present yourself in the right way, you present your company in the right way, do right by people, you'll be surprised how quickly more and more people come back to travel and do business with you. So that's a little bit of my background.
Awesome, awesome. Vince, I mean, oh my goodness, 9,000 people, 894 is probably one of your largest groups. Can you tell me, I know what's some of the places that you've had the opportunity to visit, some of the destinations, and what's one of the most memorable for you?
Oh man, I have done pretty much all of the Caribbean. I have in the United States, in terms of group travel, we have done Las Vegas 6 times. We have done Miami with the Miami Takeover brand that I own as well. We done this is our 14th year coming up in July 2022. Um, so we've done Miami quite a bit. Outside of the country is really what my focus is, always been, and it's been in the Caribbean. Group trips, definitely well over 7 in Cancun area. I think it's more like 9. We've done Cabo 4 times, Cabo, Mexico. But yeah, if I ran through the list, yes, the Cancun, the Cabo. I've been to Puerto Vallarta. I've been to Dominican and hosted trips there 6 times to Dominican Republic. Um, and just really just doing different things. Jamaica, we're definitely getting those numbers up. We kind of went through Jamaica from 2016 to 2019, 2020. We did about one every year, so that's another 6 or 7. In terms of the most memorable places, I've done Dubai. My Dubai trip started in 2016. We went 3 years in a row. We started off the first year with 110, second year 70, third year it was a little bit less than 100, and we're going this October coming up in 2022. We have 346 people traveling as of today. So and that trip is currently sold out. But yeah, 346. Feeling like that is probably one of my best experiences in terms of the most rewarding. You know, having all walks of people coming and spending 7 nights with you, getting everyone to really be experiencing things for the very first time. So there's a lot of times you travel with people, they've been to Jamaica before. Now you got to outdo what they did before and try to get them. But they really have folks to come and they're really seeing everything in real time and then walking away and say, this has just been unbelievable and one of my best trips that I ever traveled on. That is the most rewarding. So yes, I would say that the Dubai trip has been very rewarding over the years. But yeah, I've done quite a bit. I mean, all-star weekends. We've even done um, through partners of mine trips to Thailand as well, and a lot more still coming. I mean, we're really getting back into the whole travel spectrum right after this pandemic. And I'm not saying after the pandemic, but now learning to live and be able to work within the pandemic is a better way. I'm not saying that it's over, but understanding that, you know, it's still able to be safe, healthy, and enjoy yourself and still get that time that's needed. And that's really what's important. But yeah, I would say if I had to answer that question in one word, I would say definitely the Dubai trip, mainly because, like I said, it's you walk away with it with being a more of a family. You meet so many people. It's 8 days and 7 nights. You have no choice but to meet someone new, have new experiences, and because, like I said, everything is new for everybody. And you say you've partied in Miami before, but you haven't partied in Dubai. You partied in Las Vegas, but you haven't partied in Dubai. So I think that is one of the most rewarding in terms of changing people's misconceptions of Dubai first, but more importantly, bringing them the opportunity to be able to experience it at a grand level at a great price has always been the most rewarding part for me.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, all of the places that you mentioned are amazing destinations, but I agree Dubai is definitely one, definitely memorable. And so I know that out of all the destinations, you've had an opportunity to experience so many different brands, so many
Mhm.
different hotels, so many different
Yeah.
vendors. And so which brand do you find that you really always come back to? It really does a good job, and why?
I think it will be it's the Blue Diamond brand, and really the resorts that you might know by name is the Royaltons. The Royalton is and Blue Diamond is now a part of the Marriott Bonvoy
Oh,
brand as well. So Marriott recently in 2020 secured and bought a portion of all of the all-inclusive resorts under Blue Diamond, and that includes the Royalton brand, the Chic, Planet Hollywood is under that brand as well. So that
okay.
is all under your Marriott now, Bonvoy. But because Marriott doesn't have stake in all-inclusive properties, they are now partners with the Blue Diamond brand that owns these different hotel chains. Blue Diamond has properties all over the Caribbean. Um, I've stayed at out of the 12, I have done 9 in either group trip or personal trips just to kind of see what they have. The only ones I haven't been to has been the Grenada and the one in I think it's Haiti or Cuba. I can't remember, but they have brands pretty much in Antigua, Saint Lucia, 3 properties in Jamaica, 4 properties in Mexico, as well as their Planet Hollywood brand in Mexico as well. They also have places in I said St. Lucia. What else is on that list? But they have quite a few, and mainly in the Caribbean. And the reason why I like this brand is that even in 2012, all of the Royalton's brands became standards. Meaning, what I mean by standards, and this is what you see at a lot of big hotel brands, all of the rooms, regardless of where you go, it's the same bed, it's the same shower head. You kind of get understanding of exactly what you can expect, regardless of where you go out of a different country. Versus sometimes you'll have certain properties. At this property, they have newer products or a different look or different color schemes. At the Royalton brands, all of their brands are exactly identical. They provide pretty much the same restaurants. However, you can understand that the flavoring in Jamaica is not the same flavor, and the chefs are not the same in Mexico. So
Mhm.
the food does taste differently versus feeling like you're always eating the same thing every time you travel to their properties. The same thing with this brand that I'm really like is every brand is somewhat different. You have the Riviera Cancun in Mexico. It's one of their flagship properties, one of their biggest that they have. They have a lot of swim outs. They have an adults only section. They have the 24-hour club. They have different things that fits all age groups. So regardless of, especially when you're booking for a client, you know you can send them to this property because they have a kid section that's way, way away from the adult section. Then they have a group section for everyone. And then they have other places like the Diamond Club sections that you also can kind of feel a little bit more isolated in as well. So I like that standpoint. And now with the Planet Hollywood brands, it's more of the music feel, the movie theater type of themes, but they also have it sectioned off where you don't feel overwhelmed by the kids. And if you want to bring your kids, it's perfect for them. The one in Mexico, it has, if you're familiar with the Dave and Buster's brand, they
Mhm.
have a trampoline park, arcade, indoor basketball court, outdoor basketball court. They have a lazy river. They have a kids pool, but they also have adult section, 100% adults. Big
Wow.
pool, swim up bar, the swim outs, and everything like that. So you kind of can capture both things. And last but not least, the Royalton brands offer what they call Diamond Club. However, that is more of a definition of more of a butler service or advanced concierge service.
Okay.
And with their diamond clubs, it makes your vacation oh, sorry, I almost dropped the phone. It makes it makes your vacation a little bit more the gives you the ability or the clients the ability to be able to go on vacation and really just go on vacation. You know, sometimes you go to a resort, you got to get up in the morning, go to the concierge, find out this, find out this. You got to track down how you can get dinner reservations. You don't know where to go. You got to figure out how to get a cabana or how you can get a beach umbrella. The Diamond Club at all of their properties is offered, and at the Planet Hollywood, they call it Star Class, but it's the same type of concept. It allows the customers, and they don't make it very expensive to have this extra services added onto your package. So they offer it with Diamond Club and without. But with that Diamond Club, it really allows you to walk in day one. You'll have someone walk you to your room, explain to you how to make room service orders, explain to you how to get the ceiling fan to work if you've never been there before, or where all the hidden USB cords are. Things like that makes a big difference because when you don't have it, you find yourself spending a lot of time trying to figure stuff out when you don't have to. And really, when you pay that kind of money, you want to be able to walk in that door and really be on vacation. Don't think about nothing but enjoying yourself. So Royalton's is the top brand that I like. And like I said, they have several different locations that are unique in itself. Like in Mexico, they have one of a family resort. They have the new Chic brand is CHIC. And they have those in Dominican Republic and in Mexico, which is more of a sexy contemporary adult feel, like rooftop pools, you know, late night parties, theme parties pretty much every day. Those types of things also make things with the Royalton brand, which is under Blue Diamond as the big umbrella with a partnership with Marriott, one of my favorites. But I've traveled with the Ryu. I've done several Ryu properties. I've been to Iberostar properties as well. In Dominican Republic, Grand Principe, quite a few different ones. But the Royalton, to answer your question, Miss Brown, is definitely one of my favorites.
That's awesome. Now, I don't know if I missed it. Are the Royalton properties all inclusive? I know you're the king of all inclusives.
I'm the king of all inclusive. I don't travel unless it's all inclusive.
I know. So I'm thinking, it
Every
must be all inclusive.
every every single Royalton property is a all-inclusive property, and what that really means is the free drinks and free food from your stay. Tipping is optional, but definitely it is the free food, and that's the buffets for lunch and breakfast and lunch. But they also have buffet dinners, but they also have their a la carte restaurants. All of the Royalton brand has a minimum of 9 different restaurants every single night to choose from in different cuisines. So yes, they are all inclusive. And just so everyone knows that might be listening to this interview, all inclusive properties are pretty much the standard at all resorts in Mexico, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. Pretty much every resort that you're going to see is going to be falling in the all-inclusive realm. However, when you go to Aruba, you're only going to get about 4, and the rest will be just your regular hotel properties. But pretty much everything in Mexico, if it's a resort and not like an Airbnb or a motel or a hostel, it's going to be falling into your all-inclusive. And the Royalton brand is 100% all-inclusive.
Awesome, awesome. Now I caught earlier you're saying that Marriott actually bought into this property as well. And
Mhm.
so that's amazing that they're diversifying, because I also heard that now they're offering Airbnb type arrangements as well. I read an article recently that they're also getting into that Airbnb space. Have you heard that, or what? How do you feel about that?
Yes. So what's happening with the villas is that in places like, and we call them very tourist areas, um, with the over generations, timeshares used to always be the focal point.
Right.
And up until about the mid 90s, timeshares started to have a huge decline. And what's been happening is that these properties are kept up so well every year because of maintenance fees, as well as they have to continue to be able to resell them to new people as the generations pass through. These properties are sitting idle, and mainly in like Orlando area, these properties are becoming idle and they're not making the money that they could. So what's happening is you're getting a lot more big brands, the Hiltons, the Marriotts, that start looking at these types of properties and to kind of mimic the Airbnb or the VRBO
Mhm.
kind of infrastructure, where people are now looking to say, hey, I'd rather rent a house, have a little bit more space. I'm already going to rent a car. So this is kind of what we're kind of leaning towards. And what's happening now in the Caribbean, the same concept is a lot of venture capitalists are coming into places like Antigua and into Dominican Republic, getting very low cost real estate, putting up brick walls around it and a fence and making it safe, and putting 10 to 15 houses where they then can rewrite them back off as Airbnbs. And the Marriotts, the Hiltons, and other big companies are looking to start doing that. So you should see an influx of the ability to be able to do that, you know. And for some people who, for some people who have kind of experienced vacation on the resorts, and or have big families and want to kind of have everybody close by or in the same, you know, property or the same house, that is also one of the things that they've been kind of leaning towards. So yeah, I haven't seen in terms of the Marriott's investing big money into it, but you have seen the swing of people have seen how much Airbnb kind of been getting in this market, and you're now seeing the VRBO.com and these other opportunities, and you have other travel vendors are now getting into that space to say, hey, it's big money in it. And, you know, people will spend thousands of dollars to rent a house instead of spending the money to stay at a resort. And sometimes it's not about the all inclusive. It's really about creating safety and be able to keep families in a close knit house. And it's with the bells and whistles. You know, just imagine staying on the water with, you know, your own private pool, you know, a fun room, a game room, a theater room. Some of the properties they're building in DR right now is just amazing in terms of their mansions, you know, and being able to get that property at such a low cost in these other countries. That's really where the real estate is right now. It just takes a long time to build because of construction costs and the, you know, getting that type of equipment in there. But once it's up and running, you will see a lot of these companies kind of taking advantage of that opportunity.
Well, I agree. It's amazing. And like you said before, the industry is always changing. So it definitely makes sense to keep abreast of all the things that are going on. Now, we only have a few more minutes, and I know I could talk to you for hours. However, I mean, you're just so incredibly knowledgeable. Um, what, for the listening audience, what are a few of your top travel tips? What are some things right off the break that you want to tell people? Like, okay, especially maybe something about saving money, maybe something about safety. I don't know. What are some of your top travel tips that you could share?
The number one travel trip, and I use this for my own travel. And I travel between 12 to 15 trips every calendar year, between my business or personal travel. The most important thing to always remember: book your room early. It's very simple. Go through your travel agent, lock in your room. It could be only a $50 to $125 deposit. Lock in your room. If you live anywhere that you possibly can fly with Southwest Airlines, know exactly when those schedules come out. The lowest prices is always the first week they come out. If you wait to the last minute, I promise you the prices are going to increase. One of the things that people are starting to understand, Southwest is no longer the lowest price options. They are on the level of United, Delta, and American Airlines now. They're no longer a low price, low budget, great pricing point. Even with the free bags, it's starting to get to that. They have that much of a demand in this market right now that they can demand the higher prices. And the days of being able to get those low prices with Southwest compared to American, Delta, and whomever else is over. So the tip here is book your room early. And because you can book your room 14, 15, 16 months in advance, sometimes as much as 2 years in advance. Locking your dates, locking your room, have that out the way. And then make sure you're paying attention to when the flights come out, because getting the flights at the best price possible and then monitoring those prices, because they will give you the difference if it lowers, but you have to lock in. There's no reason for you to pay $1,000 for a plane ticket that the other 120 people on that plane only paid 500 for because they boarded the first day. Doesn't make sense. Make sure you understand that 11 months before departure or before your flight departs, American Airlines, United, Delta, and if they still call it US Air, major what we call the big boys, they put their schedules out pretty much 11 months out in advance. JetBlue, Spirit, and Southwest, all of them put their flights out about 6 months out. You can go to the websites, Google when the schedule is going to be released. Getting those prices at the best time is how you can travel for less, which ultimately means that you now can go on multiple trips versus spending all your money waiting till 4 months out when you have all of the money collected. Get with a travel agent, lock in your room. If you can, lock in the room and the flight at the same time. Pay on it as you go, because a lot of people do is they go out, save up all the money, and they got to go buy 4 plane tickets, and that's $3,500 all at one time, when you can really go out there and lock everything in with a low deposit. So that's my number one travel tip, and I probably have thousands of them, but that's the number one thing that I tell my clients, and I tell everybody in the travel industry: get your clients to book as early as possible. As simple as that.
That's amazing. So when you're thinking about that, if there's anyone on the line or listening to this that are thinking about, oh, well, next summer, I probably want to go to, I don't know, let's say I want to go to Paris. So let's say in 2 years, I want to go to Paris. Are you suggesting that they go on and get their accommodations now? Go on and figure out where they want to stay and get their accommodations, and at least try to make a payment plan to get that done. And then when the flights are available, just keep up with when you can get your flight, and then add your flight at a later date.
Yes, that's really what it is. I mean, even 2 years out, the thing about planning in advance, once you have that locked in, you plan everything else around those dates. So you make sure you got the time off of work. You make sure you don't make any other commitments. You make sure that if someone's going to get married, already, I can't go to the wedding, or, if you have your own commitments, your own events that you might need to do, you plan around the vacation, because that's what you're looking forward to. 2 years in advance might be a little bit extreme, but you definitely want to look at, and I always tell people, book your trip in September and October for the following year. You want to go. And the other thing that what you're saying is, if it's a month or a season that is high travel season to a particular area, Paris being one, because they have climates. It can get cold in Paris. So if you want to go when the weather is nice, you might want to book it a little bit early. If you want to stay away from the hurricane season and you want to go to Mexico, yes, from November to pretty much March, April, it's going to be hard to get that swim out butler service room if you wait to the last minute. If you want to travel anytime between June 1st and September 1st, in today's climate in the United States and trying to get to the Caribbean, you are not competing with just the people in the United States. When you go on vacation, thousands of people travel from Canada into these places. People come from China, all over the world, to come into the Caribbean. So if you wait too long, you would pay high prices for a room that you really don't want, or a room, the price that you're paying. If you did it early, you could have had that ocean view front room, balcony on the 5th floor. You could have had the swim out. You could have been in the sections that you want in terms of the adult sections. And if you're into the adult sections, it's typically the smallest sections on most resorts, and they are the ones that go the quickest.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You bring a very, very good point. I know we've got to end this interview, but a lot of people feel like, oh, they're only dealing with other people in the US. But as you travel more, especially to the Caribbean, you realize that, oh, wait, I'm not only competing with the US, I'm competing with the entire world. So
Correct.
that's a very, very, very good point that I think people don't realize. And so that is awesome. Well, Vince, we're 3 minutes over. I know you're busy. I know you got to be tired of sitting in that car outside of the grocery store. But I thank you so much for actually honoring this time and doing this interview. This has been awesome, and I know that you've provided some valuable information that everybody appreciates. So I'm gonna give it back to you to see if there's anything that you'd like to add in closing. If not, we can just go ahead and close it out.
Yeah. First and foremost, I just want to thank you for all that you do, and creating these platforms to be able to educate um, people who like to travel, people who are interested in getting into this business, into the travel business. This travel business it can change your life. I always tell everyone, as I tell them about this travel business as it being a travel agent, it allows you to be able to travel, as we call it, as an insider. It allows you to be able to really be able to be at the forefront of understanding how pricing works and be able to get those discounts. So, it's a different feeling when you're sitting by the cabana at an all-inclusive resort and you got the travel agent rate and you only pay 500 for 5 nights, and the person right next to you is well over $2,500. You vacation different. And what it really does, as being in this industry, it allows you the opportunity to go on more trips. People say, Vince, you always on the plane. You always going somewhere. The difference is the money you spending on 1 to 2 vacations, that's the money I'm spending on 6 or 7. You know, these hotels want us to come visit there so we can talk about the Royalton brands, talk about the perks, and being able to put ourselves in that position. So I just thank you so much always, Ann, for putting this platform together for us to educate folks to be able to travel for less, be able to, utilize. And, one day we can get back on here and we can talk about why someone should use a travel agent. I think that's the next wave of understanding and get people to get out of what they think of a myth. A lot of people say, oh, I can just do it myself. But those are the same people that sit at the airport trying to figure out why things went wrong. Those are the same people over at the front desk don't understand how this work and that work. That small print in this society, in this industry right now, because of the pandemic, we just don't read the fine print. And that fine print is there for a reason. So when you book online, trust and believe. When I say you now that third party, you're really the fifth party and you're not the priority. So we can talk in the future, if you have me the opportunity, we can talk about why someone should be able to utilize a travel agent for their travel, because the benefits outweighs everything else. And most importantly in life, time is something you can't get back. If you have a travel agent doing the work for you, that's that time that you do other things and be able to utilize utilize the time that God put on this earth, so you can be ready for that vacation and put that responsibility on someone that's qualified. And we only deal with the people who are qualified. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Ann. Thank you so much. My ice cream is probably melted in the trunk right now, but I'm just so happy I had this opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. And I will be calling you. I will be scheduling that next interview. Thank you so much.
Mm,
I'm
I
going to
knew
take
that.
advantage of that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you got some information that you can use. That's what travel tips for travel is all about. Sunday afternoons, 5:30 p.m. for about 30 minutes, where you can get some information that that may enhance what you're doing, enhance your life. We're here to help and just show you a different way to see the world. This is Ann Brown on the line, all the way from Accokeek, Maryland, with my special guest, Vincent Peden. Thank you so much, Vince. This has been absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I want to thank our guests for joining in, whether you're live or you're catching the replay. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you on the beaches of the world really soon. Bye-bye.